Okay, let's see if it's working. Aha, it is. I found this article. I've been looking at this polyphenol. It's called Pterostilbene, and plants contain chemicals that are called polyphenols, like green tea or dark chocolate. Everybody knows that. Um, they there's I think about 8,000 polyphenols found in nature, and there's tons of articles in PubMed about the role of certain polyphenols that relate to human health, like quercetin. There's another popular one. They seem to target certain areas. This pterostilbene, though, is pretty interesting. It's actually related to resveratrol, except it's a little bit more bioactive. Um, there it is, right there. It's a chemically related to resveratrol. I tried resveratrol a number of times without much benefit from it. I suspect that the uh, molecule just doesn't fit in the body right, or the body doesn't know how to use it. I'm not sure what the problem is. I tried multiple times the resveratrol, and I read the articles. Everybody said how great it was. I follow somebody on Twitter. He's a PhD. He happens to think that pterostilbene's far superior. But this article I thought was interesting because they're testing it for mitochondrial dysfunction. And for those who are unaware, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So energy production happens in the mitochondria. And then, you have chronic fatigue syndrome where you're just not producing the energy. The fire's not lit upside the cell. So this article kind of caught my attention. And I was looking at pterostilbene as an antibiotic, and it can reduce oxidative stress, so it serves as an antioxidant. It has a number of properties. It really seems like a fascinating molecule, but they were discussing the role of it in certain pathways, and I'm not going to go through all of them. I thought there was a couple that were interesting. This AMPK pathway is of interest. That's a major pathway. There's several major pathways in the body. There's like freeway system. Then you have some smaller pathways that are useful, but they're not quite as major. This AMPK is a big one. Metformin is a drug that they use for type 2 diabetes, and now the long COVID people, which are cousins of chronic fatiguers, seem to get some help from the metformin because it's probably targeting this pathway. It's opening this pathway up a lot. But there's other ways to activate it with a lot of natural substances. And then they talk about some other, this unfolded protein response. I've never heard of that one. So they're using these as ways to get the mitochondria to work a little bit better. And so they discuss this cocktail. So they use pterostilbene as the primary. Then they use a set of B vitamins. So this nicotinamide is niacin or vitamin B3. Riboflavin is B2. Thiamine is B1. Biotin is B7, another important one, and I wanted to sidetrack about biotin because I had a chance, it was actually an accident that I ordered biotin, and I felt a lot better. And then I looked at the label on it, and the label said that it was D-biotin. And D-biotin, from what I read, is supposed to be much more active in that sense than regular biotin. It's supposed to, it works on sugar regulation, it works on inflammatory process. There's a number of particular pathways. But I noticed about 3 or 4 days, I couldn't believe how much better I felt. Like I didn't need to take a lot of antioxidants. I wasn't in pain. My neurological system was relaxed. I couldn't believe that. Um, so I think that's worth note. So D-biotin versus biotin, which you find in a lot of supplements. But D-biotin seems to be more important. They mention part of this cocktail lipoic acid. I suppose that they're referring to alpha lipoic acid or R-lipoic acid. There it is right there. And that's always seemed to help. And lipoic acid will help control this AMPK pathway as well. And then they mentioned last item, they used L-carnitine, which is an amino acid. Typically I use that for like weight loss, if I'm not mistaken. But this cocktail increases sirtuin activity. And sirtuins are a major, I think they're signaling. Let's just look here real quick. Sirtuins, signaling proteins involved in metabolic regulation, and that's probably the key word right there. They tend to decline in aging. They think that aging, there it is right there, sirtuins and aging and disease. It's a whole family, I believe, of sirtuin 1 and 2 and so forth. Not that that's important. So they did the study on it, and they go through. It's actually quite a complex article, as you can see. And we're not going to read through the whole thing. Hopefully not. They talk about their testing equipment and cultures and immune blotting, bioenergetics. But here they start mentioning this is an interesting pathway, this NAD plus slash NADH levels. Those are, that's on a very important, see if I can get the search to work on it. That is a dependent on niacin. There's a couple of derivatives of it, NMN. I've used that, and so has some long COVID people that seem to be quite hopeful. There it is right there, NAD plus therapy and age-related degenerative disorders. And it probably, I'm sure, targets some of those things. There's this sirtuin, and they call it SIRT3 activity. And just trying to make this quick through here. Jeez, this is a long article. They get right down to the bottom. I'm going to the discussion, which is down at the bottom, which gives you pretty much the conclusion. We're not interested in all these details since we're not doing biochemical studies. Give me a second here. There it is, discussion. There's a critical need to find effective treatments for mitochondrial diseases thanks to advancements in sequencing. They mentioned that this activation of this particular enzyme or pathway and subsequent improvement in mitochondrial and antioxidant activity. And antioxidants play a big role in managing this disease. I still know what I'm looking for. Where to go? Summary, Pterostilbene in combination with the mitochondrial cofactors activates SIRT3 and this other pathway is compensatory mechanism as well as enhances sirtuin levels and mitochondrial activity in several cell models of mitochondrial diseases. Recent findings have led to an increase in the relevance of multiple